What's the peak Frisian, the best Frisian? Like, if where's the end of the evolution? Do we know, or are we just kind of
I mean,
wandering
it's
off
I
into
think
the?
it's constant improvement, and that's one of the things that as a breeder we really strive for. Um, I just mentioned Nika,
Hmm.
and I struggle greatly to find a stallion to pair her with. She has flaws. She's not perfect. I don't think there is anything, that's perfect, right?
Yeah,
If it doesn't matter what you're doing, nothing is ever perfect. And so, but right now it's difficult to find a sire for offspring of hers
right.
that I actually don't go backwards with,
Yeah,
because she's 5 or 6 or 8 years ahead of where the average Friesian is, or even farther than the over the average. And the stallions that are the new stallions that are being approved are even behind her in what the goal is. So she's kind of a little bit of a freak of nature and out of her place, but it's good to have those as you're changing the stud book is changing the breeding goal
yeah.
every year to know what you're really trying to do, and then the way they evaluate the horse provides so much information to also make sure that they're making the changes for the right reasons, for the right movement, and some of those kinds of things.
What makes Nika such a great? Like, why is she so great? I mean, you showed me her coat, and that was kind of the thing that struck me was just beautiful glossy coat.
Yeah, so um, I'll break it down for you.
Great.
So the Frisian horse. Oh, where do I start? I have a book this thick,
Okay.
so I'll try to make it as simplified as possible. So when the foals are born, they're born into the V book, and that means that their sire is an approved stallion. Okay,
Okay.
and their mom is also in the stud book. So once that takes place, then they're into the V book, and there's some rules that could prevent that from happening,
Okay.
but that's kind of the gist of it. And then they can go every year. The horse is qualified to go to an inspection. So the inspection is done by the KFPS through their sister registries around the world. And the KFPS judges fly to South Africa, Australia. They'll be here in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And they judge the horses, and they're looking at the horse. And all of this is data.
Right.
So to start, every time you breed this sire, it's producing offspring, and then all of that data goes into a database that they can see how is the sire producing.
Hmm.
But when they go for inspection, they're looking at 5 basic things. So the first is the racial type of the horse, and racial type is everything from like the coat, the like the shape of the head. Is it
Interesting.
is it a noble head, or does it have like a big Roman nose? Roman nose obviously is not ideal for the breed,
Right.
and what the picture of the Frisian they want to have is.
Hmm.
Um,
What's a noble head? Sorry.
Noble is Nika's head.
Okay.
um, and I, without it's a little hard to explain, but Gertrude, the mare I showed you a few minutes ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
she has a very big, boxy kind of head.
You want
That's one.
streamlined.
Yeah, and Nika's is very streamlined, refined bone that comes down off of her forehead. They look at the distance for the eyes, the shape of the eye, the shape of the ears, the tips of the ears if they're tipsy. They look at the head to neck connection where the neck comes up and connects here. And then they look at the mane. They also look at the feathers on the legs.
Hmm.
Is there a lot of feathers? All of that goes into racial type.
Got it.
There's a few more things, but that's kind of the gist of
It's
it.
just the exterior, more or less.
No,
As in,
because the next thing is confirmation, and that's really the exterior. That's
okay.
if you took the horse's frame and you drew a line at the front shoulder, a line at the rear, are they 3 equal parts?
Hmm.
They look at things like the croup angle, which is a point on their hip bone down towards their hock. It's not at their hock. It's up from the hock. But they look at the back. Is the back weak? Is it roached like this, or is it nice and flat? They look at the loins. They look at, there's 27 points that they're looking at. Okay.
Good
And
grief.
then they go into feet and legs. That's the third. And the feet and legs are the hooves toed out? Are they toed in? Are they straight? Are the legs dry? Meaning no swelling, no, you know, genetic defects sometimes, like little bumps and little things
Like
that
a mole.
they can, maybe more than a mole, but are they predisposed to arthritis? Do they have other things like that going on? So feet and legs are very important. Like the length of the foreleg, which comes off the shoulder and goes down to basically the front knee. They look at that. I mean, they look at the angles of the pastern. So the hoof comes like this, sits here, and then you have the little pastern that comes up. They look at the angle the way that sits. I mean, they're scrutinized.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then they look at the way that the horse moves. They look at the walk. So how is the gait? Is it a good 4-beat tempo walk? Does the back foot step in front of the front foot's hoof print? Are they over tracking? And then they also look at the trot. And the trot is equally as important as the walk. The walk and the trot, actually, when they're scoring them, count for double points. So if you have a bad walk, it's not going to be good.
Not good.
Yeah. And the horses have to be relaxed to have the best walk, which is also part of the training that they have to go through, because the Friesian has a tendency to, the minute they get uneasy, their head goes like this, they go up, and then the back goes hollow. And when the back goes hollow, their legs don't come under their body to step. And so, Fiera, that is a model mare.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a model mare. She's the only model mare on the entire West Coast. She made model last year. We bought her as a 3-year-old, and that's Yannicka on her right now.
Yeah.
We bought her as a 3-year-old, and she was very tense and was at the inspection in the Netherlands and didn't show very good because of the exact thing that I just explained. The head went up, the back went hollow. She didn't step, and she didn't get as good of a score as she could. But the exterior and the conformation and feet and legs and all of that was stunning, since she's,
A model mare.
Yeah. I mean, you can see she's gorgeous. And I knew the breeder very well. I've been trying to buy a horse from her for years, but she doesn't sell horses outside of the Netherlands, because the truth is the real quality tends to stay in the Netherlands, and they keep that in their breeding pool so they can control it as far as the direction they're trying to take the breed. You can buy quality horses, but you shouldn't be able to buy a mare like that.
Yeah.
And the day she went to the inspection, we saw it, and I have a friend of mine over there, and I said, go talk to her immediately. And then he made a picture and sent it to me, and I woke up to it on my birthday, and I looked at my phone and I showed it to Kayla, and she goes, oh. And we had a 4-hour interview with her before she would sell me the horse.
Wow.
In fact, I was on the phone with her driving to the bank to send the money.
Yeah.
Because we had to have her.
Yeah.
And she's done some very impressive things, and is continuing to do some really impressive things.
Is length of tail part of the qualifications?
But tail is it's part of the hair, and we cut the tails because in dressage you halt and you back up, and they can step on them and tear them and break them, and even unloading and loading them from the trailer can happen. So yeah. So I'll finish though real quick on so they get the inspection, and then so they can go as like yearlings and 2-year-olds, but as a 3-year-old they go to inspection. That means they're kind of like a young adult, and they get it's called a linear score. And so that's really a fine tune of the 27 points. And then they earn a predicate. And so the bottom is stud book, and then you have a third premium, and then you have a second premium, and a second premium earns a star. Then the mare becomes star. All right. And what's the statistic? 60% of all the Friesians will qualify for stud book or for third premium, but they can also not if they have a big white patch on them or a genetic defect, or they don't walk, or if they have a major issue, right? Then they're not accepted into the stud book, and they stay in the V book. You can still breed the mare, but it's really not a quality mare. And so 40% make the star predicate or higher.
Yeah.
And then if they get a first premium, they can earn provisional crown. And the next predicate above that is crown. So they can make a provisional crown, which means it's kind of temporary. And then they have to go on and do a performance test. It's called an IBOP. It's a sport aptitude test.
Okay.
And they can do that under the saddle, or they can do that in front of the cart, in the cart. And it's to show the future sportability of the horse. And then they have to get like a certain amount of points. It's very high. It's not very easy to do. And then if they get high enough points, then they become permanent crown. And so 10% of that 40% of the horses that make star will make crown. So if you take 1,000 horses, you have 400 that have made star or higher.
Right.
And now you only have 40 that have made crown out of the original 1,000. And then I think it's something like 5% of that 40 will make model. And for them to make model, they have to be at least 7 years old and have had one foal. So it's to show like the longevity of the horse,
right,
and the youthfulness. Because sometimes, like with the horses, they can have a baby and then the body just kind of
falls apart.
Yeah, it kind of breaks down, So it's also the conditioning and the care and the nutrition, and there's so many things that really go into it to do it at a high level. But that's kind of how the predicates work. So Fiera is a model mare. So she's like I said, she's the only one on the whole West Coast.
Now, would Nika be a model mare yet?
Yeah, she'll make
Not
model.
yet. She has to have a foal first.
She's only 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So she'll make model. Yeah. There's they used to have a predicate and they got rid of it because no one ever got it, and it was called provisional model, and they would award that, and then I think there's in history only 2 mares to ever receive that.
Wow.
And the judges did tell us kind of quietly when she made the provisional for the crown. So she's doing her IBOP this year. Okay. We believe in taking our time with our horses, allowing their bodies to mature and grow correctly. And the horse's development is super important. You can't just start riding them as a 2-year-old. You can cause long-term damage.
Deform the back.
Yeah, and or the joints and things like that. So for us, we really take our time. So Nika's 5 this year. We probably have 35 or 40 rides off the lunge line with her. We've actually already taken her to a competition though, and she did very well. But it was more for her mind and to get her outside and exposed and things like that. And
So when they are, when you start out with them, how young? I mean, if you're breeding them, obviously, then you start with them. How young do you generally buy these horses?
Well, we tend to buy young horses. I think we have an eye for what we want.
Okay.
We want a very modern horse. And then looking at the horse and its conformation, trying to pair it with a stallion to produce offspring. So if you look at the offspring we're producing, they're all, Kai will make star this year. He'll do an IBOP as well this year. He'll be in the top section of that. That's actually Nika's brother.
Okay.
Ilba is an approved stallion. So the statistics I gave you to become the model mares, it's even harder for a stallion to
Interesting.
become a breeding stallion. There's less than 100 of them in the entire world.
Wow.
And
Is that just because there's more of them than there are of potential model mares, or is
no,
that
it's
qualifications are
so
more
they're
difficult?
using the stallions to control the direction that the breed is going. So if you look at stallions that were approved 15 years ago, they do not look like Ilba. Ilba is a sport horse, dressage horse. He's a top level dressage horse in North America, one of the top in the Friesian breed throughout the whole world. And I mean, he's competing at I1 with his rider in the Netherlands before he came home. He just came home in March.
Okay.
And so he was in the Netherlands up until March, but Leonie was riding him for us in the Netherlands, and she had, at I1, which is just basically kind of 1.5 steps below the top level of Grand Prix, scores in the 70 percentile. So, which is very, very, very good. And very, his dad is Ilba's dad is actually the only Friesian to ever go to the World Equestrian Games and make it the farthest in the world of dressage. That is one step from the Olympics.
Got it.
So his dad is the one, and Ilba has another brother also approved, and is also a very, very, very talented dressage horse. So the bloodlines he's producing dressage horses, but when we're breeding to stallions, we're looking at everything from, it's called inbreeding coefficiency. The Friesians were almost extinct. They were only down to a couple of breeding stallions at one point.
Wow.
And so there is a little bit of inbreeding that takes place. Like anything purebred, there's
going to be a little bit of
there is always a little bit, yeah. So we're really focused on the health of the horse as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something called kinship, which kinship is kind of like how big your family is. So
right.
I'm Italian. I'm not 100% Italian, but pretty close. I'm Italian and Dutch, go figure. And a little bit of German and a couple other things.
You're European.
Yes, I'm European. But kinship is like how big your family is, how many aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters.
Got it.
It's really important to have a low kinship. Like Ilba is one of the lowest in all of North America for a breeding stallion.
Interesting.
Which is part of the reason why we bought Ilba is because he can breed a lot of the mares and not increase the
not
inbreeding,
tap into the gene pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The inbreeding coefficiency. So
a low kinship is better than a high kinship.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I would have thought it would be the other way around.
Yeah, they rated on the percentage to the general Friesian population. So like he's at 16, and this number sounds crazy, but when you're dealing with 100,000+ Friesian horses in the world, the difference between 0.5% is a lot of horses.
Yeah.
And so he's at like 16.4, and the average breeding stallion, the other breeding stallions in America are over 18%.
Wow.
So that 1.5% difference when there's 5,000 breeding mares in America, it's a
lot.
difference between being able to breed. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stallions here already have their offspring are actually in relation to a lot of the other stallions that are here. So Ilba can breed all but 11 mares in North America, right? 12 because his daughter's down here now. But
shouldn't do that.
No. But he can breed a lot of mares.
Got it.
Which is really good for the blood spread and also for what our program's focused on, which is Friesians and dressage in North America.
And it sounds like the horses take their father's characteristics much more than their mother's. Is that correct?
I think there's a really big debate on that. I've seen it both ways. If you have a really good quality mare like Fiera, nay, no, it's they take a lot from the mom. I bet you they take 60 or 70% from the mom.
Interesting.
Now, if you have a really low quality mare and you breed to an approved stallion, that's you're going to have a better foal than the mom. But like we were talking about Nika and pairing her with a stallion. That's my wife, Kayla.
Yeah.
On Fiera.
Okay.
Yeah. With Nika, finding the stallion to pair her to is difficult. Yeah. But she actually pairs very well with Ilba because it's shortening her back. It's it's creating a bunch of a little bit more sport. And what we want for sportability and what we're looking for our future offspring, based on what we're trying to produce for our program. So everything I do is very, very methodical.
Got to be calculated.
There's no backyard breeding. There's like not with as much data. I mean, ILBA has about 140 points that you can look at. They even look at their character when they go through the approval process. They look at trainability. We have to get full x-rays on the stallions before they become approved, make sure there's no genetic defects. They look at the semen quality. They look at literally everything. And then they have to go do 70 days of testing. So the approval process to get a stallion approved is buy a lottery ticket. Serious.
Wow.
It's like winning the lottery. They start, the big farms in the Netherlands will start with 1,000 horses. They'll buy 1,000 foals, and every year as the foals are growing up, they'll narrow it down and down and down. And by the time they get to the 3-year-old, they maybe have 40 or 50 horses that they put into training, and 25 of those won't make it. And so they'll get sold. And now they've down to 25 that they take to inspection. And then the judges have to like them. The blood has to be interesting, meaning, you don't see stallions with the same exact dad and also the mom's dad. So when you look at the breedings, like Kai, he's Yessa by Fika by Monta. So his dad is Yessa, his mom's dad is Fika, and his grandma's dad is Monta. And so when you look, that's how they look at them.
Okay.
And so you would never see another stallion just like Ilba with the same, because it's not interesting.
Right.
They already have it.
Yeah.
So they want different and unique. So you have to be mindful of that when you're breeding. It's very difficult to breed an approved stallion. It's one of my main goals.
Yeah.
In breeding.
Interesting. And how many Friesian stables are there around the world that are also competing for this?
I don't know. I mean, doing what we're doing, I don't think there's anyone in the world doing what we're doing. We're very versatile. There are sport horse programs. There's Friesian sport horse programs. There's Friesian sport horse breeding programs. What I think separates us is we're a full reproduction site, on-site reproduction. So I've gone back to school. We're blessed. I retired young. Kayla and I owned some companies. We sold them. We started them and built them up, and sold them. And this is now what we do full time. And so I went back to school, and so we do everything. So we do the stallion collection and shipping the semen like around North America for breedings, but we also can freeze it, like not in your freezer, but with liquid nitrogen at like negative 380 degrees frozen.
Yeah.
So the movies where they get cryogenically frozen?
Right.
We do that with the semen.
Yep.
And we can then ship it around the world.
I was going to say back to the Netherlands.
Yeah. I actually have a bunch in the Netherlands from before he came home that I did. But yes, essentially we can send to South Africa, Australia, Mexico, South America, all of that. So we're a full stallion station and standing our 3 stallions, all approved stallions. And then we also do all of the artificial insemination for the mares. And then we do some really fun stuff, which I'm very passionate about. We have a full rescue program where we rescue off-the-track thoroughbreds if they've had like career-ending injuries. A lot of those horses don't end up in good lives. Most of them go to kibble, or it's an interesting world. But for us, we can repurpose those mares and give them good forever homes. And then we use those mares as our recipients. So we're a full embryo transfer facility. So like Fiera that we're talking about, we bred her twice this year, and I take the embryo out of Fiera and put it in the recips.
Interesting.
And then they become the surrogate moms, and they have the babies, and it allows us to continue to keep the mare in work and going, and not having to put her body at risk.
I was going to say,
jeopardize her risk, because foaling can be dangerous and things like that, And then saves some thoroughbreds, which also makes you feel good at the end of the day. And so we do the embryo transfers, we do embryo vitrification. So sometimes a mare can actually double ovulate. So you would get twins, and I'll get 2 embryos, and we can freeze one of them cryogenically. And then I can thaw them later on. And we do a lot. So around the world, I don't think there's anyone doing everything from the stallion station, on-site breeding and collections and AI and embryo transfers and all of that, through the foaling and all the way up to the top levels of sport. I don't know of anyone, and I don't. And I've asked a little bit, like, hey, is there anyone really out there doing all the levels? And I hope more people do it, because the horse business is pretty tough. It's not an easy business to make any money at by any means. And so when you're well diversified inside of the business, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, because I would imagine people want to buy the sperm from some of the stallions that you guys have.
Oh, yeah, we do, between our 3 boys, probably 300 breedings a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a fair amount.
How often will the mares breed in their lifetime?
That's a really loaded question, because some mares you can breed until they're 20 or 25. We had a mare that had a foal at 18 years old, and it was a perfect foaling and textbook, and we retired her after that. But sometimes they stop at 12. It's kind of like humans. So much relates back to humans.
Yeah.
So sometimes women can't have children after 30 or 35. Sometimes, women can have children at 50. We're all different, and the horses also are the same.